All right, today we're digging into the lessons from what you could only call a living nightmare. It's a story that really makes you think about just how fragile our world is. What happens when all the rules that hold society together just shatter? I mean, really think about it. What actually happens when everything you count on, laws, basic decency, your place in the world, just disappears? It's a pretty scary thought, right? Well, that's exactly the rabbit hole we're going down with this story. Okay, so put yourself in this situation. 1 minute, you're Morrow B. Jukes. You're a British engineer in colonial India, a guy with real status, real authority. The next thing you know, you wake up at the bottom of a giant sandpit. You've stumbled into a place they call the Pit, which is basically a village for the living dead, people society has cast out and forgotten. And the worst part? There's no way out. So yeah, welcome to the Pit. It's a world completely flipped on its head. And we're going to figure out the new rules of this nightmare right along with our guy, Jukes. And the first lesson Jukes gets is a real gut punch. It's all about power. You see, his entire identity, being this important European engineer, down here, it's worth absolutely nothing. He tries to pull rank, give orders, and the people there just laugh at him. Everything he was on the outside is just empty words in the Pit. It's a total power flip. Back in his world, power is about your job title, your money, your family name, all these abstract things. But in the Pit, it's stripped down to the bare essentials. Power is having food. It's knowing where to get water. It's having knowledge that others don't. This is a classic case of something called situational authority. Basically, power isn't this universal thing you carry around, it's all about the context. So a guy like Gunga Das, who knows how to survive down there, how to find food, he's the one with a real influence. The takeaway is pretty stark. Authority isn't about who you are, it's about what you control in that specific moment. So this new power structure, it brings up something even more disturbing. It makes you wonder about civilization itself. Just how strong is it, really? When things get truly desperate, how fast do all our good manners and morals just evaporate? We all like to believe we're good, moral people at our core, but this story suggests that maybe, just maybe, that's a pretty thin veneer. Maybe being civilized is a luxury we can only afford when we're safe and comfortable. Throw in some real fear, some real scarcity, and that polite surface just cracks right open. And we watched this happen to Jukes in real time. The sophisticated, educated engineer gets totally broken down. He's humiliated, he completely loses his cool, and at one point he even lashes out with violence. That civilized man is just peeled away, and what's left underneath is something a lot more primal. But it's not all doom and gloom. The story shows us there's another path besides just breaking down. Survival is a journey, right? It starts with shock and fear, of course, that's human. But to make it, you have to push past that. You've got to start thinking strategically. You have to adapt to this new messed up reality instead of just freaking out about it. That is how you stay alive. Okay, so Jukes is adapting, he's fighting, he's using his brain. But is that enough? Can he actually get out by himself? This leads us to the story's big escape clause, and a really important lesson about how far pulling yourself up by your bootstraps can actually get you. So after everything he went through, all his clever plans and his will to live, how many people did he need to get out? The answer is one. Just one person, a loyal servant on the outside who refused to stop searching for him. For all his efforts, Jukes couldn't save himself. He needed help. And that one simple fact says it all, doesn't it? The big lesson is interdependence. We have this huge myth, especially in some cultures, about the lone wolf, the rugged individual who makes it on their own. But the truth is, we're pack animals, we're social creatures. Survival, whether you're in a literal pit or just, living life, almost always comes down to working together. All right, let's step back for a second, because this whole thing is way more than just a scary story. The Pit is a metaphor, and it's holding up a mirror to some pretty uncomfortable truths about the world we live in right now. So, what does the Pit really represent? It's those forgotten pockets of our society. It's about communities that are excluded, people who are ignored by the rest of the world, treated as if they're already gone, socially dead. The story is kind of a slap in the face, forcing us to admit that, yeah, these hidden places of suffering are real. So if you connect the dots, every lesson from inside the Pit points to a bigger truth out here. Status is situational.
That means our social ladders are way more fragile than we think. Resources are power. That means whoever controls the basics controls the people. At the end of the day, the story's screaming that our social order is a delicate balancing act, and community, well, community is everything.
And that brings us to one last really big question. This story might be old, but the metaphor feels like it could have been written yesterday. So if the pit is any place where people are forgotten, excluded, and basically stripped of their humanity, you have to ask yourself, what pits exist in our world today?